Welcome back to the absolute most professional StarCraft 2 with the 9-time GSL Champion, the Terran in the blue, the man, the myth, the Maru. Facing off against his greatest rival, the rank 1 Protoss in the world in the red, we have herO. In a best-of-7 Terran versus Protoss showdown, the upper bracket finals of the Revival Star League Season 3, and probably the most requested series I've seen this year. So I have one request for you before we get started. If you could smash that like button, and maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? They're like the same. That's not two things. It's one thing. 1,750 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. herO sends out his first probe, slaps down a pylon. And next to that pylon, he's warping into gateways. And but a screen away here on Evil Heart to start things off. Maru sends out 2 SCVs with which to construct 2 barracks. So, hopefully you have your balanced wine ready, because I hear it pairs very well with such cheese. If this doesn't set the tone for this series, you might be tone deaf. As right now, herO with the 2-gate proxy, Maru with the blind 2 Rex. Neither player has scouted. Both players are all in. I have no idea who comes out ahead of this, and I'm not sure either of them would either. It's a he's making zealots. So there's going to be nothing at home for Maru. But he can build a wall. Zealots are the advanced Protoss melee warriors with laser swords, which have clear weaknesses. Marauders, on the other hand, have grenade launchers, which can be much more effective if you're able to build them up. My instinct, which has been wrong so many times with herO involved before, says this is Maru's game to lose because of the architectural, genius of Terrans and their ability to build a wall. But 3 zealots are coming up. And now the Marauders are headed the other way, realizing that it's very likely there's not very much at home. herO gonna be wondering exactly why there's anything here, and the probe gonna spot the Marauders. Concussive shells isn't done, but it's not really relevant. Meanwhile, the Stalkers are help working their way through. The Marauders are on the high ground. The first pylon will be targeted. And with it, the Cyber Core taken down, and the only chance of defense in the shield battery. Meanwhile, the Terrans, with their infernal repairing ability, are consistently able to reinforce the wall, while herO is still trying to batter it down like it's a siege in 1664. Well, herO's inside the base, but Terran buildings can fly, which I think is the redeeming characteristic here. He recalls out the Stalkers. The probe's pulled off the line. The workers will suffer the most. 10 SCVs dead. They're still... Wait, herO with the probes and the Stalkers. He's targeting them down, bringing them around the corner. There's still enough probes to play the game out from here. And herO recalls back at the last possible moment. And wait, did he win? herO, I think, won the game. The boys are pulled off the line for one last gasp, but this time around, herO knows exactly what's going on, and whether that helps or hurts, I'm not sure. But right now, Maru is clearly the one hurting with half the supply, half the workers. He barely has more than he started Wings of Liberty with. And with Marauders trying to make their way up to the high ground, the SCV's a little late to the party and kind of unhappy they were invited at all. And the concussive shells may hold down some of the Stalkers, but there's enough damage here. There should be a shield battery. It's not quite... Okay, wait a second. Now the turntables have turned yet again. The probes are going to have to be pulled. There's one Marauder that can't even stub its toe right now. The probes. The shield battery's about to finish. The SCVs. The battery is finally done. And with it, the ability to actually keep these units alive for a little while longer. GG! herO in 4 minutes and 36 seconds takes game number 1. Can we even run ads after? I know. Well, starting things off, it feels like the last place we left them between these two. Historically, the series between herO and Maru have been the mental jousts of a knife fight in a phone booth, and the physical jousts of a knife fight in a phone booth. As both players more than willing to commit well, I don't need to explain it. You saw it now. They've shown their willingness to go all the way, and they will continue to do so. Maru ends the game with, I believe, pretty much 0 workers. herO without many more than that. But herO starts things off with a 1-0 lead. Wow. It's been a while. We've seen herO facing off. So Maru has not deigned to participate in many of the weekly tournaments that herO is a regular antagonist of. He pretty much has not played since the last season of RSL a couple months ago. So we haven't seen what he's been doing with the new patch. And I didn't get... Okay, I think this series, hopefully, many of you are coming back for the first time in a while, drawn in by the clickbait or the excitement or just the names you recognize. Or StarCraft 2 for the first time. There are dozens, I assume, out there. But there was a new patch. The intern has returned at Blizzard and gave us a patch. Not the Balance Council, not the Balance team, but just Blizzard themselves. And with a pretty drastic set of changes. On top of this new map pool we have. Though this one's specific to the Revival Starling. So, we're back to getting balance patches of some... herO, I'm trying to explain the balance. Don't proxy again. Short notes, though. The Ghost is now a light unit, but it has 25 more HP and only costs 2 supply. And if you haven't been back for a while, the Ghost was changed to 3 supply in order to nerf it, but now it's a light unit, which means it is more vulnerable to Colossi and Banelings, but it has 25 more HP, which means it's less vulnerable to pretty much everything else. Meanwhile, Storm has been significantly, against at least Terran, nerfed. The duration is about 50% longer, but the effective DPS is less. So you do about up to 140 damage over those 6 seconds. I think that's right. I don't want to do exact numbers, but the effective amount of damage you do per second is significantly lower, which makes Medivacs a lot stronger. On top of that, the cast range for Storm was reduced by 1, which means the Templar have to get a little closer. Energy recharge is now only 50 energy, as opposed to 100, but it's on a 45-second cooldown instead of 60. And again, if you haven't joined for quite a while, energy recharge was added to replace the shield battery overcharge ability, where you can take on a Nexus 50 energy, you can smack it into a unit or a shield battery, not another Nexus, that violates the laws of space magic. Read a tome. And effectively bolster it at, well, whatever the cooldown is, which is 45 seconds now. Great for Oracles, Sentries, Templar, but the utility was nerfed slightly because if you add 100 energy into a high Templar, which starts at 50, boom, you got 2 Storms, so we got a KR Terran Amulet situation again. Meanwhile, for Terrans, the Viking is now 25 minerals cheaper. The Liberator was actually nerfed in its sight range, so that way it can't see the edge of its siege range unless you have a spotter unit, kind of like a siege tank, which is a pretty ingenious nerf, in my opinion. And Widowmines. Now, with drilling claws are 30% faster to burrow and unburrow. Everybody loves that. The Oracle, on the other hand, still a very risky unit to build against Terran in general. Even though the Cyclone bug, which allowed it to lock on a little bit too quickly, about a second, was fixed, alongside like 50 other bugs. You should check out the patch notes when you get... It's quite a read. It's crazy. We have a real support team, though we're not sure who it is or why, because there were literally no explanation. It's still like raw dog and patch notes, just some stats. That's it. Meanwhile, herO, not building 1, but 2, but even more oracles to start things off. I'm not being rhetorical. All right, this... another deplorable build out of herO. He's hiding the oracles here. Meanwhile, an SCV came in. This map has a worker-only path, one of our new features. As the Triumvirate comes in. Meanwhile, the Adept shading into the natural. In the main, the Cyclone locks on. The Oracle gonna try to burn it down. It gets 1. The Cyclone being targeted. The bunker. The Adepts are still behind the mineral line. and everything dramatically coming into action simultaneously. There's no Widow Mine, there's nothing in the main. A dozen SCVs are dead. Maru tried to take a third command center, and he's gonna desperately need it, because right now it seems like herO is somehow just running the table on his entire base. Once again, herO gonna be foiled by the existence of a wall, but a recall out has already saved him before, and this time around, it seems like it'll save him again. Well, 19 SCVs dead. herO getting a third base, but Maru, so he didn't light up the oracles to delay the third command center, which means that Maru actually has 3 sets of mules potentially, which are worth about 4 to 5 SCVs mining while they are, and will draw the income a little bit closer. But make no mistake, that was a massive economic hit. Though the Cyclone and Viking, just gonna push things away for now. Meanwhile, another wave of adepts. Did he built more? He only lost 1. How is that even possible? Okay. Oh. The things herO will do when he's playing on the correct server. That cancel was so late, it might as well have been StarCraft Ghost. Picks up a Cyclone, breaks the lock, the Viking, put him down! And the Cyclone will be put down, and so will the Phoenix as well. Don't think that one's gonna rise again, but the adepts gonna draw some of the siege tank fire, and because he brought some of it out of position, now this started off pretty good and is getting increasingly more questionable, but those adepts burning a hole in his unit composition, as no Protoss seems to want them past really the 5-minute mark. Anything past that, and they're the expendables at that point. Adepts, they don't do, they're not as good as part of the standing army as a ranged unit as Stalkers, and they're a lot more expensive and less effective than charge lots as time goes on. As my heart goes on. No! Sorry. Questionable Oracle Micro, but gets 4 more SCVs. herO has nearly double. So generally, adepts are used almost exclusively for that early sort of pressure, that early harass, just to slip by the army while it's still relatively strung out and doesn't have the units to gun them down immediately. But herO coming in for the next round. There's a set of rocks, there's the worker-only path, and Blink Stalkers are going to ignore such silly terrestrial bounds and violate them as regularly as possible. herO with a 4th base. Is that in the right spot? You know what? Wherever herO puts it is the right spot. There goes the Oracle, but so does everything else. The Raven, not being targeted. Everything else, though, the Marines, another Cyclone on the high ground. Those Stalkers, they get in. They refuse to elaborate further. And he knows what he has. A great position to kite away many of these Marines. And again, herO able to shave away a big chunk of the army while also getting some more LCVs. The 4th base is on the way. Charge is halfway done. herO not willing to sit back and build up his lead when he could carve out a larger one. 3 siege tanks and he just goes! Oh my! Wow! That's a huge move. It was a bold one. Okay, he gets 3 siege tanks for 8 Stalkers, which on paper looks pretty good. I mean, in cost, actually, siege tanks are a lot cheaper than they seem, but you're not building them up nearly as quickly as you are Stalkers. herO is not about being cost effective. He's not necessarily about being effective at all, but about maintaining the threat. The moment you move out, he will stab you in the back, and it doesn't matter if he has to use his own hand to do it. Which, uncomfortable for everyone involved, but the Observer manages to slink away. Warp Prism speed is about to complete. Gravitic Drive. Of all things. Double Colossus production as well as herO unwilling. Now, it is pretty widely accepted that herO! Oh, he's in here too! Oh, he blocks it again! Loses the prism, loses the charge slots, but he gains the position in the natural. He's gonna keep going. He will not stop. He will rule this map or see it burnt to ashes around him, which will be somewhat facilitated by the inclusion of extended thermal lance. Right now, hero's about a third of the way done. Mine's further along, and 2 Colossi are nearly completed. Meanwhile, he's still battering down whatever semblance of a door Maru has been able to put together. The Liberators, he keeps going forward. It's almost like he's scared of looking back. That's what recall is for. Knocks out another one. Marauder's off to the side. He could lower his own depots. The thing is, the Terran army at 200 supply is by and large better than the Protoss. The supply effectiveness of the army. The fact that, one, you don't need as many workers. You can usually get by with 60 to 70, as opposed to Protoss, who really wants more. You already have a Stargate hero. Even hero falling prey to the forgetting that he... Now, if he just builds a fleet beacon and goes for a mothership, now he might actually want the Stargate for more Stargate-related activities, but I have a suspicion he's going to build a fleet beacon right when it finishes. In which case, we can have a sensible chuckle at the fact that the proxy Stargate is still alive. A Templar archive, sure. The whole tech shrubbery. He's checking off everything on his Prima strategy guide here. Hero done with extended thermal lance. He continues doing what he can to whittle down Maru's army. There it is. I love how the Stargate wasn't quite done. He just assumed it was, and he starts the fleet beacon as he works his way up the tech tree here. Hero realizing that Maru eventually will have to move out. The pocket base that he's been hitting so hard with his Blink Stalkers and his Charge Lot Warpins has less mineral patches and only a single gas. And the more you use mules, the faster you mine out the bases, which is usually a good thing, but there are a finite amount of minerals in each base. And once they're gone, they don't come back. Sure, a Dark Shrine as well. He's going Storm, Fleet Beacon, and Dark Shrine. He's going for the Buddhism build here. Make me one with everything. I mean, or one of everything. Maybe that's Noah's Ark. You know, appropriate for someone with this many zealots. How did the Warp Prism just soul drifting its way through? The drop-off was optimistic at best. The outflanked by a missile turret going forward, anti-armor missile, and somehow hero has managed to navigate a narrow path to now being down 15 supply. Hero just keeps battering his head against a literal wall. And on top of that wall are Liberators and Vikings and Siege Tanks, and they shoot back. The wall is shooting at us, quite literally. He knocks out one of the Liberators. Tempest on the way. He is building... does he have both Stargates? No, but he is building Tempest off of his proxy Stargate. So credit where it's due. He is still using it. Hero has... what is that? 5 bases? Surprised it's not more, but where are you going? Hero? Absolutely no fear. Probably because he's lacking in whatever part of the brain generates it. Sure, the forward operating base gonna slap together some batteries and cannons, which don't cost any supply. Though, I don't think that's relevant because Hero's at 163, not 200. He's certainly acting like someone with 200 supply right now. But I guess fake it till you make it. The storms. Templar gliding in from every which way. You can see, oh yes, the radius of storm is large. But the Templar are still made out of tissue paper and dreams. And nightmares, no. A couple Tempests, but Vikings still a strong counter there. EMP onto the high ground. The Bio Army's coming up. How many storms are ready? It looks like exactly 0, which is certainly not enough to deal with this army. The Colossi is standing tall for a surprising amount of time as the Vikings were dueling with a Tempest, which has still survived because of the shield batteries. But Hero has lost so much. Maru destroys 5,100 minerals to 4K. 3,000 gas to just 1,300. Those High Templar are not cheap. The Colossi lived. 2 of them with like a half Colossus of HP between them. A mothership is in production. But Maru has been allowed to get a 4th base. herO actually hasn't really mass expanded in the way you see a lot of Protoss, almost emulating Zerg in that fashion. And herO actually has less workers, so the income lead has been wiped out as Maru now has his 4th base mining with some mules dropped down. A very herO. It's that lack of fear that makes him so dangerous to everyone, including himself. No tectonic destabilizers for the anti-building damage on the Tempest. The mothership has completed. And remember how this game started with herO killing half of Maru's SCVs? Well, herO not willing to let it lie. And now the siege tanks holding their ground. There's really no reason for Maru to move out if he can keep whittling down the army. He didn't win the last fight quite hard enough in order to carry it across the map. But one more disastrous engagement like that, and you're probably just going to end up on, like, Judge Judy or something. 4 Vikings, 2 Ghosts, +3 infantry weapons and armor alongside +2 ship weapons from Maru. He's got plenty of CCs scattered throughout. Meanwhile, more Stargates out of herO. He has already +3 ground weapons and +1 air. Helpful, but generally the Vikings at 2 supply apiece trade quite well with the 4 supply Tempest. The mothership uses active cloaking. Unfortunately, scans come built into those orbitals. And right now Maru has plenty. 6 orbitals. 3 command centers, just like we got display command centers here. Take them home, turn them into a planetary, an orbital, whatever your family needs. Now, the Tempest continuing to show. The lack of tectonic destabilizers and that anti-building damage is increasingly irksome, but destroying the command centers I don't think is the main priority. The Storm, a strong historical and practical counter to the Vikings, but the Tempests are getting knocked out of the sky while the Vikings are only just mostly bruised. I can't help but feel like herO has far outstripped his ability to support the army he's trying to build. And Maru, on the other hand, has carved his way 1 fight in 1 brawl at a time to nearly 200 supply. There are 3 Colossi, 6 Tempests, 8 Templar. The smorgasbord of strong Protoss units here. Those couple Colossi from the fights earlier. Storms alongside incredible storms doing terrible, terrible damage. The Time Warp gonna help out, but the shields are stripped away by the EMPs. The storms, but a drizzle, and the army crumbles with ease. Oh no. It's a disaster for herO. He warps in some charge lots, which not going to help him deal with the Vikings, but the Tempest actually turned and managed to take out most of them. The charge lots eviscerating the surviving Marines. Wow, the planetary got so close. But in the end, it didn't even matter. I was so close to taking it out, but 2 disruptors on the way, of all things. There was also a Dark Shrine built, it seems, in another age. But for both these players, a Shrine to Dark would seem appropriate. Come back to us. Meanwhile, the planetary was not repaired that... Hey, he could get it! Tecton! Man the harpoons! Target the planetary! No, Captain! Captain herO! Maru. Big job, huh? Kinda like your mother, eh, Sarge? Billy! I hope you get replaced with a mule. They can't build stuff because of regulations. We're gonna replace the Balance Council at the next election. We don't have elections, Sarge. That's true. That's true. Sorry. Another ship is on the way. herO keeps acting like someone who has 200 supply and 3,000 minerals and gas in the bank. He is currently down 30 supply. Maru is building a nuclear missile. All right? A reasonable response, but he may go beyond it. A single nuke, honestly, against the mass cannon sort of style, cannons can't move out of the way very quickly. So that makes the nuclear missile a more attractive prospect. And knowing herO, there is a much higher than 0 chance he will be in the very wrong place at the very wrong time. Still, no tectonic destabilizers. I am like 80% sure that herO knows that upgrade exists. 70, okay? The tectonic destabilizers upgrade effectively doubles the Tempest damage against buildings. He 100% would have killed that planetary with it. The disruptor shots are flung out. Suddenly the broadside and the salvo of splash damage. A tsunami washes across Maru, the time warp. The mothership going to absorb a lot of the shots out of the Vikings. Honestly, kind of her purpose in this engagement. The ghost count is growing drastically right now. Cloak is on the way for Seg Ghost. Maru, 190 supply. herO has lost 13,000 more resources through all the fire and the fury of this game. 5,000 more gas in total. 17 Tempests. 30 Vikings. This is unsustainable. Assuming herO isn't able to mine from 2 or 3 more bases. But thankfully for herO, he currently has 2 or 3 more bases. Another engagement comes around the corner. Disruptor shots flung out. Meanwhile, Maru sneaking in from the side. The EMPs land, no storms. Down goes the mothership. The Archons evaporate. The Vikings on the chase. The Tempest kiting back, but Maru maintains a huge amount of supply. There's the medevacs are a little bit further behind, but the entire Protoss army just evaporates. Felt like this was a long time coming as herO finally punished. He doesn't have the gas, nor the production to rebuild, and Maru is just tearing through absolutely everything. herO makes him work for it, but that sort of endless and reckless aggression can only get you so far. And Maru seems very ready to weather the storm. The Dark Train. GG. Maru strikes back. He survives Game 2 and ties up the series 1-1. herO. It's the almost random attack generator, sort of Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss that oftentimes allows him to get decisive victories. And at the same time, create some of the most painful and glaring defeats. We'll see if Maru can stack up enough of them. 1-1. And somewhat ironically, Game 3 will be on Mothership. The real scale version. So large you could play an entire game on it. Unfortunately, we have to make some allowances for balance reasons. Maybe we can mine some of these minerals. Alright, some natural homegrown minerals. Like a chia pet. Or, yes, that's how we grow the minerals. Farm fresh. Okay, organic, free trade. Gluten-free, by the way. Even the Protoss can enjoy them. Though they don't have mouths. That's because Protoss are plants. This is confirmed if you are listening closely to the campaign. Remember, they have Solarite from customer service representative Carrick. He says the Solarite in this ship that was just sitting there like a plot device to save the whole planet, which nourishes our warriors. You know what else gets nourished by solar power? Plants. I rest my case. You know what else doesn't have mouths, with some notable weird exceptions? Plants. Here we are. You know what else has not developed the technology for opening and closing doors, to my knowledge? You guessed it. Plants. You know what else can't do what you've already done, which is like and subscribe? I had to shoehorn that one in there. You know what else doesn't wear shoes? Well, we'll see if this time around Maru is 2 steps ahead, or herO has already lapped him. herO with the proxy Stargate into YOLO Adepts, into continue attacking until it's incredibly cost effective, and then keep attacking for the rest of the game strategy. The full defense Terran is not necessarily the chosen strategy, but oftentimes the only one left to Terrans when faced with such reckless Protoss. That the Stalker does what it does best. It stalks the Reaper to death. No restraining order here. And with these maps designed specifically to let things like Reapers in, you know, it's only fair play. This time around, herO was something a bit more... Is that a Twilight? Yeah, that's Twilight counts. Just slapping it down right in the midst of everything. Wait, did Maru see it? No. I would say it's implied, but herO did go proxy Stargate last time, so... Adept dancing back and forth. It's going to be a 2 racks into likely a more medevac-oriented time, and kind of an old-school build from Maru, but it still checks out. Especially if he's able to survive the onslaught of Blink Stalkers. The most dangerous time, and kind of the reasoning for many builds in this matchup, is the danger that, 1, early tank pushes for Terran, pose to the Protoss, and 2, the other side of the coin, the Blink timings from Protoss. The early tank push is designed to, 1, defend against Blink, and then counter in a way that you can't really deal with if you've been investing in the relatively expensive Stalkers. And then you kind of have to go tanks, because otherwise, if they go Blink, you have almost nothing that can reliably defend. Very simply, the Blink can be done, as we see here. Before Stim, before a critical mass of Marines and Marauders, the siege tanks, a solid position, and a bit of luck are the best ways to help deal with it. And it looks like herO, his ragtag band of Stalkers, is on the way across the map. But certainly not any sort of all-in. Maru, gonna be a little forward with the siege tank. The Adept casually strolls by and actually realizes that the siege tank is so far forward, another unsiege tank almost gets one of the SCVs. So where does that leave us now? The boys are pulled off the line. Here we go. And this is the other side of it. The Blink has been denied effectively, at least for now, but herO not willing to give up the map for free. The Blink Stalkers are kiting back, 1 SCV at a time, shaving them away. This is more than your usual amount of tactical SCVs pulled to repair the siege tanks or keep everything alive. This is to help buffer so that those units don't get picked off so easily. Charge is on the way, but it's a long way off for herO. Gonna lose one of the Stalkers to the lock-on from the Cyclone. And now the tanks are closing in. There's a single shield battery at home. The Cyclone, not quite, picks it off. One of the siege tanks bruised. But here comes the bunker rush out of Maru. And if he can lock down these bunkers, it's going to be almost impossible to defend. The SCVs out in front. The Stalkers blink around the rocks. One of the gateways might be taken down. He's actually able to cut off the second siege tank, or the third, rather, on the other side of the map. The siege tank's moving forward. Stim is done. Charge. But the pylon, it depowers the Twilight Council. Another one's on the way. Siege tanks moving forward. Another pylon could be targeted. And so far, charge is maybe a bit too far. The SCVs and siege tanks cutting off the reinforcing stalkers at the back. 14 SCVs taken down. Almost all of them at the very front lines. The Twilight Council itself, that's one way to deal. He got charged back there. It doesn't make sense, but it's provocative. It gets the people going. Unlike the charge lots now, which will never be. He's reliant on just blink stalkers as the siege tanks are shelling the Nexus itself. More stalkers warped in. He can't really afford to lose this. The probes must be pulled. The Nexus is taken down. He's decided to break out now. Right-clicking on the siege tanks, going for the Marines, but he retreats to the bunkers. The probes off the line. He gets the siege tanks, but at what cost? A single SCV remains. The Nexus is dead. A dozen probes with it. It is an economic disaster, but they were all of them deceived. For another Nexus was made. He recalls probes out to mine from his third base, and herO, well, Maru is cutting off both sides here. The circulation between the... Maru has been rallying SCVs across the map. So, the supplies are... This eventually, he's going to Guardian Shield. Tries to break out, knocks out the Liberator, realizes that there's no SCVs to keep this going, and herO will just dismantle the bunkers, and with a uniquely flexible style of Protoss, adapt to this incredibly unique situation. And I think still have a real chance to turn this around. I feel like when herO's behind, he's actually ahead. And when he's ahead, he gets so far ahead, he gets behind again. Don't check my math on that. But herO losing his Nexus. Maru pulled so much, though. We cannot... Remember, he pulled like a third of his SCVs with the attack and lost them all. He lost the entire attack itself, the entire army with it. There's a Marine drop on the other side, which means barely anything at home to defend. Down goes a siege tank. There's not enough bio. It looks like herO's figuring this out, but charge is not done, which means these zealots can only run menacingly at the Marines, and they might be able to just target them down. No upgrades for either side, at least the basic ones. And honestly, for Protoss, he just has blink. Wow, just disrespecting the zealots. One at a time, gutting them down, and the probes are going to be next on the agenda. He has to walk home with the stalkers. It's a disaster for herO yet again, as 8 Marines and a medevac are all it takes to undo any gains he might have made on the other side of the map. And now Maru with a 10-worker lead. Maru up 15 supply overall. Maru has a 3rd command center started, and Maru with a solid standing army and plenty of production. herO starts Storm. And minutes late, we'll finish charge. I don't think it's enough, but the scan, spotting the fact that herO, I don't know why there are 2 probes going down here, but trying to maintain something resembling efficiency. The fact that he's oversaturated with 44 probes is both concerning and impressive. A Ghost Academy on the way. Maru, that scan? He's like, actually, no. He was thinking about moving out, but instead, he's building the wall to keep the Protoss out. He knows. There's nothing else. There's nothing left to wait on. His army will be better. He has more supply. He has a better economy. But if he moves out with too much of his army, there's a chance herO can move in. He's gonna risk it just slightly. 3 medevacs loaded up. There's still the one on the cosmetic fires on the edge of the force field that defines the mothership. The air blockers there. The bio army moving out to chase these 3 stalkers with great prejudice. Concussive shells is done. Maru up 30 supply. herO does, well, he's a few seconds off of Storm. A medevac, he's got some Templar in the Prism. He has the recipe for turning this around, but Maru spots the Templar. And herO has a few storms, gets an Archon merge. That's something, it's not much. Meanwhile, the third command center will be delayed by a single Brave Stalker. Placed there minutes ago for exactly this. And herO's just gonna go. The longer he waits, the worse it's gonna get. And this time, I agree. He needs to do something with these Templar before the ghost count gets too high, before the army gets too entrenched. But it may already be too little. It may already be too late. +1 armor finishes, 2 upgrade advantage from Maru. He has Ghost. Hallucinated Colossus thrown into the mix. The pre-MPs on the War Prism and the army just, it's gone. It's gone. And it looks like Maru will be taking the lead for the first time. herO never been accused of tapping out of the game too early. A single Marauder. Oh. I'd rather kill myself than die to a Terran. It's too much, and it's too late. Maru did critical damage minutes ago. He took out the Nexus. herO limped along without even charge lots, but wasn't quite able to bring it back. He's going to make... You know, there's a real value to making him close it out. Making him think, you know, you could have just left the game, but still fighting it. herO seems to tilt Terrans like that on a regular basis, but Maru is no clem. For better or worse, and both are true. But it's gone. The Warp Prism as well. And that's it. Maru. Really, herO? I thought I lined that one up perfectly. And that's it. Maru. Alright. This is the one. And that's it. Maru. And that's it. Maru takes game number 3. herO fights to the last unit. The last High Templar. Almost breaks out, but Maru just breaks in again and again. The tank timing hitting so hard. It was just too much. The back and forth between these two continues. herO tried, he feigned the Blinkstalker aggression. I mean, he would have gone for it if he had an opportunity, but it just wasn't that many Blinkstalkers. He wanted to get the other tech out. But when you invest that much in another level of tech, well, you didn't invest in an army to fight right now. And that matters. And also, what was that Twilight Council positioning? All right, I'm feeling a little vindicated for pointing it out early, but I digress. And hopefully we don't regress, as the first probe is sent across the map here on Tokamak for herO. Right off the bat. Beginning of the game. Probe. We'll see what he does with it. I don't think any unit can be attributed more blood pressure raising, more stress, more intensity. No single unit. Yes, things like Reapers and Dark Templar and maybe Banelings have their moments. But the probe itself, a single probe. Uno probe. Un probe. Una probe. No, not that. But the amount of mental and physical damage it can do, unmatched by an order of magnitude. And herO is a master of mental and physical damage. And emotional damage. Possibly most important. herO, the person who, I forget, was it the 5th GSL? That's so many GSLs for Maru, it's hard to remember, but Maru was going for the record of GSLs won. I think it was 5. Surprising amount of years ago. Trying to take it from, I don't know, probably Rogue or MVP or Nestea or some other nostalgic names, like he who shall not be named, but my point being, you know the player who stopped him for 2 seasons in a row? This is not a trick question. It was herO. herO with his unique quality. Somewhat ironically, the anti-hero And I've never been quite convinced, and I still am not, on how much of it is method and how much is madness. How much is intended and how much is happy little accidents. But whatever it is, he's got that perfect concoction of Protoss ingenuity that puts him up there and maybe above the greatest Protoss, who almost to a man, with one or two notable exceptions, have been somewhat crazy people. Both possibly in, well, definitely in, but sometimes out of game. We're talking MC. We're talking parting. Definitely out of game as well. Crazy. SOS. Trap. Zest. By the way, herO has started using the Zest portrait since Dark left. For those who weren't around, I mean, go back not too many months ago, unfortunately, because he's not going to be back for a bit. Dark is doing his obligatory military service in Korea, which means while he's still playing on the ladder, fun fact, very fun fact, I'm very glad of that. He can't play in tournaments at the moment. So, but it used to be herO using the Dark portrait against Dark, who would also use the Dark portrait as the #1 player ranked in the world by Dark. But now, since Dark has left him, and apparently forgotten from his mind, he's using the Zest portrait. Zest also had his military service, but decided not to come back and play, unfortunately. I mean, probably a pragmatic move, and he always seemed like a pragmatic person, if a madman in game. Honestly, Zest closest to herO in his, we'll do it live sort of strategies. Speaking of, the Stalkers showing up. 2 Stalkers, 1 Adept. Alright, I haven't seen that video in a while, but don't worry, everybody consented. Meanwhile, the Stalkers trying to pick off, but he dodges the Hellion. The Hellion into the medevac. herO trying to micro back, but it looks like he's bitten off more than he can chew, which is nothing at all, as we already established Protoss don't have mouths, but the Hellions dodges another one. herO and Maru both playing with fire right now, but we'll see if the Hellions are the ones who end up burned. Chasing down. Wow. Just juggling. But I'm not sure whether this is a clown fiesta or Cirque du Soleil at the moment. The Stalker count is high enough, and the Marines starting to feel a little bit abandoned, as the medevac is supposed to heal them, not just be the plaything of Hellions. He has 1 Hellion with like 1 HP left, so I feel like that went better for herO. If only because Maru was clearly focused so much on the micro, while herO was just kind of casually stutter-stepping back and already has a 3rd Nexus on the way. But at the same time, Maru has his 3rd command center in production in the main at a similar timing. No, you can't? Okay. I need to calm down a little. We still have, if it keeps going like this, quite a series ahead of us. I feel like I'm on edge the whole time, which is a bit much even for me. But will they? Well, Maru's coming. Well, I mean, for the most part, besides game 1, Maru's just kind of hit his timing or survived. Whereas herO is. But there's a double engineering bay before any additional racks. If herO knew about this, it would likely be suicidal, because he's getting double upgrades for his bio before even getting 3 racks online. He has them now, but he's just not going to have that many units. herO, option 1 would be line up a big attack for whenever Maru even pretends to take a 3rd base. Option 2 would be take like 3 more bases of your own. Option 3 would be harassed by auto turrets from a Raven who chortles its way into the corner after killing 3 probes. These options are not mutually exclusive, nor in any particular order. Just like liking and subscribing. Like, you can subscribe and then like, or you can just like because you've already subscribed. Or you can even press the hype button if you're on your phone, I hear. You guys have phones, right? I don't know why you're watching StarCraft. I mean, and also, for those of you, you're just listening in the background, somehow trying to get some semblance of the action. Well, thank you. Well, hello. No, don't make random noises. I don't know. You never know. Auto turret with a shield battery. Probes will sip on it while loyally mining. And perfect positioning there. I mean, what? How, what? I think Maru's thinking the same thing. As herO blugs forward, charges in, and loses everything. Yes, that went horribly. But the second wave, Maru, a false sense of security as herO comes in for another round. Oh, wow. The multi-layered onion build here. Another inspiring plans for herO as his observers all in the same spot going forward where the Warp Prism is in the main. But Maru now in a precarious position and the Warpin will complete even if the Warp Prism is taken down. herO, oh, the Raven even being caught. Not quite enough to take it out though. 11 SCVs dead. The command center under fire. And herO, the master of disaster, the connoisseur of chaos, is once again dragging this game into some Machiavellian scheme, and Maru is forced to play along with it. Maru's like, okay, I killed a bunch of your army, I should be able to take my third, and hero's like, but I got another army right here. I don't know how or why, but so there are some real problems now though. Not the actual probe count, but the fact that herO is just now he just finished 2 forges. Maru is upgrading +2 infantry weapons and armor. herO is getting extended thermal lance and a Templar archives. Whereas Maru already, well, does he have 5 racks? He's just getting 5 racks online. He doesn't have a complement to that. I was gonna do like the back and forth give and take kind of call and response, but that isn't the case. If there are Colossi and there are Templar or even Archons, herO will have an advantage. That is better tech here. As there's no Ghost Academy and there's only a single starport, and he can't really afford to build Mass Viking and Medevac. So that will leave him lacking in one of those departments at least. So herO does have the tech and the economy. Maru has the upgrades and the army supply for now. There's the Ghost Academy. herO's taking a 5th base while Maru sets up his 3rd. The double upgrades pumping at the 3rd. He just threw some forges back there. Why not? Get him out of the way. And herO's grinding out quite a lead. At least supply-wise. I can't get over it. Like, those are the sort of Zest-like moves. It's not like herO wasn't doing it back in the day, but he stands out in current day with that sort of activity. Just jumps in, and then somehow the second army is more dangerous than the first, even after the first was destroyed doing... I guess he killed a tank or two, but... hallucinates a Colossus alongside his other 2 Colossi. I mean... why not? He does only have 1 sentry, so you gotta be kind of careful with the energy there, but... Maru has built a wall. But herO seems intent on tearing it down. The charge lots see act. Oh, they come fling around the corner. I don't know about this. Those charge lots trickling through on either side. The river of Protoss parts the sea around the supply depots. The 17 SCVs died. The wall holds, but flesh is weak and malleable. Well, Maru clearly did better in that fight on paper, but we don't play this game on paper. And I'm not even entirely sure herO knows how to read. So, herO loses 3,800 minerals to 1,800. 750 gas to 200. But he's mining from 2 more bases. He has so much more production. Maru now has a 2 upgrade advantage, but there's 10 gates, which actually seems low, and herO for once agrees. 2 more gateways on the way, which still is low, but you know what? I'll take what we can get. Siege tank on the high ground. 3 siege tanks on the high ground. The Vikings. There's so many charge lots right now. EMPs whipped out. Shields not as relevant for... part of the reason why charge lots are pretty good against the ghosts is they only have 50 shields and 100 HP, which means EMP isn't quite as effective. But more charge lots streaming in. Quantity has a quality all its own. And the Zerg-like quality of these charge lots is continuing to chop through as Maru scrambles back. But wait, there's more. Another wave of charge lots over to the right side. The Colossi also waiting for their opportunity to participate in the group activity, but he knows that they're a liability at this stage. 2-2 upgrades finishing. herO starting to catch up in the upgrade department. Chrono Boost would do that for you. And again, the economy's there. Gravitic Drive, a second Prism, a Shrine to Dark is on the way. Looks like he's going to drop right on top of the tanks, which is one way of expediting things. The Zealot Bombs. And he brings some of the army back, clearly anticipating another move. But the Warp Prism gets into the main and circumvents the missile turrets by just going straight through the center and may have an opportunity. Warps in another cinematic of Zealots. The army that he knew was coming, still coming in again. The fourth base under attack. 9 SCVs dead. The no. herO. Another planetary fortress will be targeting the SCVs. It's not enough. herO manages to lose an absolutely record-shattering amount of supply in seconds. He lost 48 charge lots, 2 Immortals, a Sentry and a Warp Prism in less than a minute. That's 96, 100, 104, 108 supply. But, I mean, Maru now has the lead by a massive margin. And then herO warps in another round, and that margin gets cut significantly down. But he's still going to try to fight. The medevacs are nearly out of energy, and there's just not that. That's not how it works, herO. So if you dodge the anti-armor missile, maybe he thought for a second that if he dodged it, it would go away. But the anti-armor missile would just land wherever the unit was. But he actually did dodge it with the Prism. These charge lots are a special breed indeed. Hey Bob. Hey Bob. What? My wife for hire. Say it, Bob. Does she charge a lot? Thanks, Bob. And sorry, I'm losing it, but so far the charge lot's coming in. The sheer DPS of the bio ball is grinding right through, and herO, what are you doing? DT Blink is on the way, 3-3. The rest of the base is on the map. It's going, well, 4 Colossi are incinerating the front line. Not a lot of micro there, but there's nothing for them to get caught up on. Meanwhile, the Terran army... DT Blink is on the way. He just warped in 10 High Templar. Like, this is the campaign, and DTs are the plot device to save you from some dramatically horrible turn of events. But I don't think you can warp in Zeratul, and I didn't think it worked out well for him, but the DTs blink into the middle of the line and eviscerate some of the remaining SCVs. Actually, Maru's rebuilt quite a number. Are we going into a base trade? Fuck it, we'll do it live. Well, the Ghosts, the medevacs are out of energy. There are disruptors on the way. Zealots, Maru is... the Zealots in the natural. Here comes Maru. Disruptor shot out of nowhere. Doesn't get much. Curveball off to the side. DT is the ultimate base trade unit, but the vast majority of herO's production can be pinned down in the main. The DTs are denying one base. Maru's actually mining from the gold. Charge lots at another. Warping in from a nexus that shouldn't even be. Most of the gateways here in the main. herO's at half the supply. The Dark Shrine, he recalls some of the probes away, which is a choice. Maru's still mining from this gold base, but if that was denied, he actually wouldn't have any. How many orbital commands? 5. So that's plenty. herO is about to run out of gateways, which is going to make warping in anything difficult. He can use the Ghost. There's another DT in the main, eviscerating a couple Marauders. Another wave of charge lots going to get on top of some of this. The medevacs are out of energy. The charge lots have 3-3, but so do the bio. And I mean, the DTs on the SCVs yet again. He has to use all these scans. He's denied another base. The DTs are forcing. There's no way, herO, right? herO has once again managed to put himself in a position he should lose. He very much, in a sane and reasonable world, he does lose this game. But there's still Dark Templar, though there will be no more. The Dark Shrine was eliminated. 6 more gates in the corner. Maru still has 29 SCVs. He still has several orbitals on the ground despite everything. herO building another Dark Shrine. He knows what he wants, but it's just not going to be good enough. None of these units compete. He never kept enough splash damage together to even pretend to compete with the ghosts. And GG! Maru on match point. herO again. herO giveth and herO taketh away from herO himself. Again, the single-minded commitment. The overwhelming willingness to just continue sending it. And again, Maru recognizes it, and Maru stops it. And even at the end, it looked like there were a few moments that herO might be able to turn it around, but it was far too little. It was far too late. What herO right now needs is a himself. He's got him right where he wants him, all right? Maru just needs to lock it down. We're on Magnetic North, another one of our Team Liquid map contest maps. Now, it's gonna sound like caster, well, keep it going so we get a good series, but herO is the least tiltable person in the game. I have seen him lose some of the worst games. Games that tilted me as a caster. Quite literally, I've fallen off my chair, removed it. There's been nothing quite so egregious today. Yet. But there's games that have caused Clem to rage quit despite winning, like... But he... Every single game. And game. Alright, Mom always said that Protoss was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. What I'm saying is that herO might be treating all of these as a best of one, or he might have some master strategy. Or, you know. I don't. If you do, please fill me in, actually. That would be helpful. Though, maybe it would take... He just built a Zealot, which is something you can do. The probe is, assassinated. Citizens arrest from the SCVs who are just sick and tired of it. Though they do not get sick days, alright? There are no breaks. That's in the contract. Just like for me on this channel. Like and subscribe. So I can pay my health insurance. herO. Mental health at this point. Jimmy, edit that out. No, you don't get benefits. The Zealot walks up, and Maru did not scout. In his hubris... Wait a second. He has no units. Like, you can't repair a tech lab until it's completed, either. So... It will complete and start burning, which is hilarious, by the way. And now the Adept, he might get through. Well, he's gonna kill some SCVs, potentially. What? What am I watching? There's a... No, another Adept. A Marauder's input. Is he gonna get through? He could get it. He's not he gets in! I don't know why I said it so dramatically. It was pretty clear where this was going, but... There's a Hellion on the way. The Zealot is taking so much damage. The SCVs trying to cut through it, but revenge for the probe! Never forget! and never forgive. Meanwhile, the Hellion comes out. The Marine gonna be targeted down, and one Hellion's not enough. But wait, there's more! Another Adept on the way, and there's no wall to stop the Protoss. The Adept Shade on top. Does he get the Hellion? It's coming around the corner. There's another. He's gonna get it. He'll get it eventually either way. The Adepts will not let it live. He shades. Another big hit. Gets on top. Targets the Marine. But wait, there's more. There's a Stalker. He starts the reactor now. 3 SCVs dead. Meanwhile, Maru's mining with 5 SCVs on the low ground. The Adept, he's going for the tech. Let me in! There's 5 SCVs down there you could kill. Doesn't care. Moves forward. And the supply depot, it's up. Maru keeps building add-ons, but you need units. You need boots on the ground or something equivalent. Like, he doesn't have any units. The SCVs are pulled for like the 3rd or 4th time. The Adept gets in. A lot of these SCVs softened up by one method or another. A Widow Mine is, if that was a Cyclone, Maru might be able to stop this, but a Widow Mine is unlikely to do so. Viking on the deck. Does he spot the mine? He sees the mine. He can, is that enough? Does he get it? Oh no! It's a disaster for Maru! He got the mine, kills it with the last shot of the Stalker, the Hellion. And, oh, there's a, what? There's a probe here. There's a pylon. This is not over. There's a gateway. Ah! The Mad King. There's nothing to stop me. Blink. What? herO strikes back, and if you blink, you'll miss his. Maru, for the first time, at least for the first time being punished, goes without an SCV scout, without a Reaper. How does herO knows him so well? And Maru, just scout, like, let him get himself killed. What are you doing? Not SCV, are you kidding me? Against herO, you're not gonna SCV scout? You're trying to cut that corner? You know what's around that corner? Apparently a Zealot and 2 Adepts. And they want to break through your tech lab. And then they did so. And now, we still have a series. Maru will stay on match point. That's how math works. But herO, proving that from the very first game, every single game, he's willing to put it all on the line and cross it. And he takes another. He cannot stop. He will not stop. That has been the story of this series so far. herO has tried to kill Maru, or he's died trying. And when you put it in that context, in that lens, at least for us, mere mortals, it makes some sense. It's just, as time goes on and the Terran army gets more and more complex, actually killing it outright becomes a near impossible task. So we'll see. And by the way, the winner of this moves on to the grand finals of the Revival Star League Season 3. The loser still gets a chance in the lower bracket. So they're not knocked out of the tournament. And either way, whoever makes it through, obviously whoever makes it through, we're going to see the grand finals. All right. So there's a chance of a rematch as well. In fact, I don't know if the lower bracket, Shin, Raynor, something like that. But both of these players, there's a Zerg in the lower bracket. And both of these players fear no Zergs. Serral doesn't count. So you know, I think no matter who wins this, the next video you see will be the lower bracket final. And then the grand final. That's likely what we're doing. Also, by the way, shout out to the Revival Star League by Tasteless and Co. in Korea. There will be an offline LAN event, like in an auditorium, sort of GSL style finals, in December of 2025, if you're watching this, seeing how herO became the most incrediblest gamer of all time, despite his failure to Maru here. herO gonna be 47 years old and still winning at StarCraft 4, which is now on Neuralink. You guys have brain implants mandated by the government, right? Like and subscribe. Make sure to think about liking and subscribing really hard. Not too hard though, or you're gonna end up reporting me. Well. Now that we've got all that out of the way, what have we here? The most passive game thus far, I think. Therefore I am. And also 2 Hellions, but herO already has something resembling a wall. The Hellions have no chance of getting by that. Charge? Sure, throw that one in there. 3rd command center is nearly completed for Maru. Whereas no 3rd nexus for herO. Is he gonna see? He sees the 3rd CC. He sees the CC. But does herO see? My kids love the taste of cinnamon toast crunch. He takes a 3rd nexus. And herO only has 3 gateways, so he can't... Okay. He can't easily do just an all-out attack. So, he's not going to. When you're ahead... Well, when you have almost guaranteed... Like, there's no chance of Maru doing damage to herO right now. That's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm meandering around. Just like these Hellions around the entire map. Alright, gotta sit up. Alright, get your caster complexion on. Sentry doing its job for once. But he knows for a science fact that Maru cannot attack. He has a 3rd command center, he has 2 racks. The most he can muster is a Liberator, a small medevac drop. Nothing that can really threaten. In fact, he didn't have a starport, so... Is Maru wait. What are you doing? Double engineering bay? But herO... This series is... We're gonna get everything. We're gonna get herO playing even more macro. He's about to see, potentially, the starport timing. And you can just draw a line from the starport timing to 2 minutes later, and that's when the Terran attacks. Alright? That's the time it takes to put together a reactor, get some medevacs, and move out. Maybe a little bit, slightly over 2 minutes, but the starport is actually the fastest building production facility by a pretty decent margin. I believe it's like 8 seconds faster than the racks. And if you flip over to a reactor, that expedites the process. So, might be able to cut down on that. But, alright, we got him back. This is the boring-ass the more methodical, precise TVP that we see so often from less dynamic players. Where they've both looked each other in whatever resembles an eye and said, well, I'm not going over there. Except, Maru doesn't even know that herO doesn't have blink. Yeah, there were a lot of double negatives there, but that's most of herO's play, so... I'm imagining that standing in the corner meme of, like, all these upgrades. They don't even know I don't have blink, right? Is that relevant? It might be. That may factor into how quickly Maru is willing to move out. But really unlikely. There's no way to tell unless you see them blink that they have it done. Charge slots, on the other hand, technically you can click on them, even if you don't see them moving, and see the speed upgrade. Though, you just have to assume, okay, those boys are being pulled to the 3rd base, to mine, which is a reasonable action for reasonable people, not going beyond it. Alright, 2-2. herO has this army. He's gonna hit that 2-2, 132 supply timing. No, I mean, he doesn't have 2-2. He's halfway there. He's just going to go, though. All right. This is a bad idea. But is it bad enough? Those couple Archons helping out. Kills 8 SCVs. He gets some siege tanks. So, each one of these fights, we have to ask ourselves that question. Have you liked and subscribed? And at what cost? And, well, herO lost a lot more, but another wave. The force fields, the emotional support fields will make it a little uncomfortable. There's just a lot of he just keeps sending the charge lots. And herO, he has a massive income lead, actually, especially after killing 14 SCVs. This has been a full macro trainer game. The medevacs are running out of energy. Is there a 4th command center? It's in the main now. I think he was building it at the 3rd, and then herO disabused him of that notion. So I guess Maru's moving out with these medevacs because herO is here. And he's ready to attack. He finished 2-2. So now he might have the upgrades he needs to actually break through. He thought about it for a second, thought maybe this is a bad idea, and then thought no further. He goes forward yet again. But the upgrades are definitely helping, as the charge lots make a lot more progress. Force field mildly discourages some of the bio from chasing. Brings it around the corner. Knocks down another observer. A scan. Maru spots the base, but little does he know, I have another base in the corner. And he doesn't. Maru has not been able to move out. And here we are again. The Fortress of Maru. Unfortunately, not literally, is coming together, but the Chew Toy Depot, kind of helpful, but not so much so that he's able to drive this back. SCVs are pulled off the line. The Bioarmy Guardian Shield actually targets the Sentry, and again, herO is supply. herO! He will kill Maru or die trying. And every single one of these attacks somehow looks like both simultaneously. 16 more SCVs dead as herO leans on his 12 gates and his upgrade advantage. He's got 3-3 on the way. Maru has 2-2 at about the same timing, so herO should be able to maintain an upgrade advantage, and he may have a window of 3-3 versus 1-1. Just warping in round after round. The charge lots continuing. The conduit to the main. He's got 82 probes, plenty of economy. Another base spotted. The Venn diagram of freedom down the center. Gonna make it impossible to attack. Though there's a bit more open space. The sensor tower trying to stream through, but it's almost better if there isn't a wall, so the charge lots will funnel through to their death, as opposed to trying to chop it down. herO? Yeah. Sure. That's one place you can put a Nexus. He's not going to go through the whole Rube Gold base machine and knocking down the rocks and then destroy the tower and then destroy it. It's a whole deal. All right, why not? This way you get a watchtower as well. What a bonus. herO. Now, the key part of all this. herO has the economy and he has the upgrades. Those have not been true in each of the games thus far. Right now, he has the greatest advantage. Both players. herO's going to finish 3-3, like 3 seconds before, and he'll attack in those 3 seconds. But Maru just finished 2-2. Still, the upgrade advantage is maintained. The charge lots. Maru misfires at a depot. Gonna dismantle the Liberators. Just casually striding through with the Stalkers. The time bought with the many lives of the charge lots. But he takes out all the mechanical units and leaves the malleable flesh-based ones mostly intact. But those are ones that can be overrun, and the medevacs are overtaxed and underpaid. They're running out of energy. The bio count, the army supply. Maru trying to hold on. He's going to have to pull the boys again. The charge lot's coming in. A couple more Liberators, but the Stalkers knock them down. Another siege tank, but they're already on top of it. So many charge lots dead, but even more SCVs. 100 zealots. And it's just the beginning. Another round, and another one. And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming. Wave after wave of zealots being warped in. And a clear objective with each attack to knock out these force multipliers, the liberators, the medevacs, the siege tanks. Until eventually, ideally, he can overrun the bio. Now, if he doesn't actually get to that point and Maru maxes out, well, then he may have to rethink the strategy. But for now, he has a little while yet, because Maru doesn't have 3-3. He's only at 160 supply, and he's continually struggling to mine from his third base. Another... Where does he keep? He got so many charge lots. Another wave! The boys are already pulled. It's only going to get more difficult. The splash damage from the Widow Mines, the EMPs as well. The SCVs transferred through the fire. Another 10 SCVs dead. More charge lots warped in. The Guardian Shield, marginally helpful for many of these units. Knocks out the Observer, but the Command Center in full retreat. And herO, the inexorable push, and this time around, he has the support, he has the economy, he has the numbers. Maru getting pushed back further and further. Every step forward is 2 back. And until he gets 3-3, that will continue. And by the time he does, it might not matter. Another set of Widow Mines, another wave of charge lots slaughtered. The Stalkers coming in and targeting down the, well, whatever they can. The Immortals, the charge lots are running out, buying time again. And herO sending wave after wave. The Zealot wave strategy, but Maru's striking back, and even before the upgrades are complete, he needs to do something. He needs to turn everything around, because herO's about to have a double gold base, even if he isn't mining very efficiently. 40 SCVs dead. Infantry weapons level 3. But he can't get out. There are too many of them. They are coming. The EMPs hit everything, but herO shrugs it off. Maru trying to mine with some mules. He's got more army supply. The boys, everything is pulled. He's just going to try to break through with +3 armor finishing. It's not going to get any better from here. The Immortals are left alone. herO's, the charge lots are wiped out. Trying to target down some more Marauders. And has herO managed to scrape a defeat from the gaping chasm of victory? He's got a Robo-Bay on the way and a second Robo. Maru, this is everything. He's packed up all the SCVs, all the Marines and Marauders, the Ghosts, and the surprisingly and uncomfortably high number of medevacs with almost no energy between them. And there is a dream of a base trade. But again, herO has pretty much every base on the map, and this time around, he has the production with which to maintain them. And now the undefended planetary will be wiped out, and almost spitefully warping in another round of Stalkers. Maru is supply blocked, not that he has much economy to build anyways. And stimming his way in, he's gonna try to gut the entirety of the production, his best and only hope. And here we go, holding the high ground for now. The SCVs, herO blinks up and charges through, juggles the Immortals onto the front line. Maru, abandon ship, abandon your posts, flee, flee for your lives. As there's nothing left to save you from herO's army, he recalls the probes out, which, you know, I appreciate the gesture, and I'm sure the probes do as well, but I feel like there are more units you could have recalled. He targets one of the command centers, a second as well. They are burning. Carrick is burning now, and the chances of Maru getting out of this series without going to a Game 7, I think are burning with them. Yes, he will be able to get some barracks into the corner. Yes, he will be able to rip his way through the vast majority of herO's buildings. But no, I don't think he can stop him. And no, this time, it's not going to be enough. Maru has one last fight, but herO is already building cannons to reinforce the cannon. The Stalkers will snipe it all. Another Nexus goes down, but there's plenty more where that came from. herO did lose a surprising amount of gateways or had them depowered. The rocks are dropped, and now many of the Stalkers caught in a hard place. But herO is just mining. Like, well, he must construct additional pylons. Maru is fighting for a draw. He's not rebuilt his base and is being revealed. herO with no such concerns. We're back to the Blink Stalkers kiting across the map as Maru trundles with an armies of 82/0. supply. The probes. That is so many probes, actually. He's going to lose a lot of them. He actually EMP'd a couple of his own medevacs in the process. Tries to target the Nexus. He knows nothing about the other base. herO without enough army supply to reliably deal with this is the problem right now. He has 18 charge lots, 17 stalkers, and 2 immortals. He's lost 200 charge lots in this game. That is not actually enough units to deal with this with any sort of guarantee. There are cannons here. The stalkers are fighting. He may just go for it. He has enough supply now to warp it again. The EMPs across the board. He uses the Guardian Shield. Force Field optimistic. Gets around to the corner. The medevacs are fighting. Kiting back. herO can warp in more mid-fight. More charge lots. More bases. And the Guardian Shield is holding. Maru being whittled down. Another round comes out. And GG! herO sends us to game number 7. Somehow drags it all the way. And it looked like he went too far, but this time, it was enough. This time, he's able to break through. It wasn't easy. 200 zealots might have something to say about it. But the results, unlike the Protoss, can speak for themselves. Well, best of 1. I myself, it's impossible to determine the method or the madness. For me, in particular, as we go into Game 7 on Winter Madness. In the top left. No, come on. You couldn't have scripted this better. Come on, no. Maru, don't you dare proxy Rex. Okay, he's sending an SCV at the beginning of the game. Maru decided. There and back again. A cheesy Terran story. Maru, I think, is now adapting this into an NG Bay block. Will he still proxy Rex? But the probe scout came out at the beginning of the game. So it started. The game number 1 was the sharpest cheese and the most decisive conclusion, with herO somehow managing to scrape a victory from what very easily could have been a defeat. And then we've had several games of maybe the opposite. And then herO pulling it back together to bring us to this game number 7. And now, Maru was more than willing to go for the proxy racks again. But herO doesn't even know about the NG Bay block. But he already had a Cybercore on the way, which means I think he anticipated it. And he doesn't care. He'll just take the 3rd. Sure, why not? Just whips out the Nexus and slaps it down to the 3rd base, and on seeing it, Maru cancels the NG Bay. Its purpose served, such as it is. Marine first tries to take out the probe. Not gonna happen. What did the probe see? No second gas. Obviously didn't see the command center. But the lack of a second gas, the key part of all this. The second gas unlocks a lot of those more tech-oriented, early factory sort of all-ins. Things like Cloak Banshee or Siege Tank Push. And that's not saying you can't go for it with an expansion, but it certainly pushes it a little further down the line. Meanwhile, herO, the Stargate, once again, for the 2nd time. herO looking interesting. He's the one more suspicious at this stage. No one knows Maru better. Maybe Dark did. But, probably not, actually. herO. The suspicion was that I think Maru really wanted to start it off. There was a time when Maru, building buildings in your base was considered cowardice. Or at least that's how the Terran propaganda worked. Especially back when the Cyclones had their machine gun pods. During their, like, second or third rework. At this point, I don't know how many we've gone through, but... the yearly tradition of reworking the Cyclone. You'll never be a Goliath! Shut up, you're not my real dad! What? Well... the probe... taken down. Just the Marine count itself is a bit of a giveaway. But not so much so that I think you can read into it. The Cyclone? herO may spot it with the shades. Yeah, I think he noticed. 3 Adepts, and the Oracle's headed for the main. There's not a second Cyclone. The Cyclone's busy focusing on the Adepts. Who goes for an Oracle? herO does. If there's a Widowmine in the mineral line, herO he's gambling the whole game pretty much on there being no Widowmine. And even herO not willing to go that far slaps down a Revelation. There easily could have been. There easily could have been a Widowmine. He could have just flown right over it. But I seriously doubt Maru was anticipating the Oracle. After all this, at this stage of the game, that's kind of a crazy play. Not so out there that herO now has to scramble to pull together some semblance of sanity, but enough that it's a curveball that Maru could certainly strike out on. Does he recall? He has to do it immediately. Okay, I think that might be a little late. No, gets out. Will the missiles follow it across the map? There was a bug that projectiles would follow the recall if they were in flight. Very amusing. Happened a lot with Widowmines, though. Which, yeah, that was not fun. For the Protoss, who don't deserve it, right? Well, here comes Maru. All on the line again. Blank is still only halfway done. The boys are pulled. Maru effectively all in. He still has some mining back at home, but herO gonna do his best to get rid of that. Few SCVs picked off. There's a stasis in an awkward position on the low ground that might end up working out. Shield batteries finishing up. More of them on the back. The SCVs have been all whittled down, but it's just Stalkers here. The Viking, it dodges into the medevac. 11 SCVs dead. Maru's gonna have no home to go back to. Not a unique experience in this series, but the Nexus taking a lot of damage. The shield stripped away. The second shield battery. Blink is done. The probes are pulled, but he blocks forward. Doesn't have quite enough to finish off, but good target firing. The Stalkers. Oh no, so many of the Stalkers died and the probes as well. herO down 10 supply. A disastrous engagement. It wasn't enough. And now herO trying to sip on these shield batteries. The siege tanks were taken out, which means he will be harried by the Blink Stalkers all the way into the main. There's charge on the way. The white whale for herO throughout this series. The Oracle's coming back home. The probes of the main may have to be pulled as well. The Oracle's coming back in energy recharge. And you know, yep, that's a Revelation, an interesting choice. But energy recharge on the Oracle could be a game changer. herO's actually taking the supply lead. Taking out those tanks, maybe paying dividends. And they'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. Leaves behind the Marines, and Maru scrambling back home to defend. The Stalkers are on the chase. There's a Revelation on the medevac. He might be able to just pick it off. He could intercept it on the way, the siege tank. And the Blink Stalkers, no! Maybe. Oh, he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it. Unless he just gives up on the idea. herO, no hesitation. Blinks forward, eats the lock-on, takes out the tank, the bunker. Well, it may finish. The few Marines came back home. The medevac by Maru down 15 supply. And herO, the chips were down but not out. herO never gives up. He never surrenders. And despite what seemed to be a terrible fight, it is now Maru that cannot see the light. A somewhat terrible sight. as herO down 2 games. He needed 3 in a row, and he's 1 blink away. Maru holding it together, a Dark Shrine. A Shrine to Dark. We've seen it several times. The DTs have barely been able to make an impact. But in a scenario... Oh, and the Oracle comes in! Maru, just when it seems like he's stabilizing. Now the Blink Stalker's behind the mineral line. herO did lose his expansion, but he's built another one. Maru at risk of doing the same. The orbital's burning. He's at 14 SCVs. You know that he's going to be dropping every mule. That I don't think he can even afford to think about Dark Templar at this stage. But of all things, this may be a game where the DTs, well, the Blink Star, oh, he has charge done. He finished charge, the orbital command. And the SCV's repairing. He gets it, the expansion. And now Maru must go forward. But there's only 1 orbital. And the Stalkers may be knocked out. He may lose more. But the Dark Templar are warped in, and Maru has nothing. He has no detection. If he's lucky, he may have enough for 1 scan. herO has won the game. He's won the series. And Maru doesn't know it yet. The Dark Templar unleashed, eviscerating the Marines, the last scan. But he can warp in 1 more. And then there's nothing to stop him. herO holds it together, keeps Maru at bay, and 3 games in a row. Maru's on the run, trying to find some way out. But there's nowhere left to escape to. herO has the economy. He has the units. The DTs. G! herO 4, Maru 3. herO will be your first grand finalist. In another one, it feels like every series is the most herO series I've ever seen. And yet again, that's true. herO putting me and hopefully some of you, I don't hope, but through the emotional turmoil of watching his very committed style. I will kill Maru or die trying. And today, Maru did not survive. 7 games, the full distance, and the best Protoss in Korea, and therefore the world, beats the best Terran in Korea. And, well, maybe not the world, but I'm looking forward to more. I hear this is just the beginning. Thank you to the Revival Star League. Find some info in the description, Jimmy. Make sure. And thank you for watching. I hope I made a significant chunk of your day just a little bit better. Congratulations to herO on being Maru's greatest villain yet again. And if you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. Here, liking and subscribing and hyping are still free, at least for now. But thank you to our Mule Tier patrons, Big Jig, Devin Door, Kate, Mario Suit, for bringing in those extra minerals, and everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Look forward to the lower bracket finals of Maru versus whoever survived there. And then good luck, have fun. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Stay chill.